Catherine Holland of Indestructible Soul, and I'm here today to talk about the topic that I want to discuss, which I've entitled In the World of Feelings, Our Heart is in Charge. I've been listening to quite a lot of summits recently in my particular areas of interest to do with health, somewhat specifically to do with the potential for long-term, really good health. And some of that is connected with birth, with the microbiome, with breastfeeding, but most of my work is actually with adults. And so my particular interest is in the mind shift that people have to make to realise that being well as an adult is a choice, it is viable, it isn't luck, it's things that we do and choices that we make that influence it. So, having listened in particular to the summit about the microbiome, where at the end of the summit, in the one of the last interviews, they asked about doing more research, and of course, the lovely researcher people say, yes, we must do more research. Of course, they do. But the place that I'm coming from, the perspective that I'm coming from, is about the proof of worthiness of this. While I fully understand doing research and while I am interested in the results of it, I do know, because they said so as well, the general public does not listen to scientific and research arguments. They base their decisions instead on their own and their friends' empirical evidence and what feels right to them. Which of course makes sense, because we have to feel what feels right to us. We have to be drawn to what feels right to us. And so that tickled me slightly, made me think, well, who's the research to convince then? Is it to convince other scientists, medical professionals, decision and policy makers in government? Figures don't appeal to hearts, feelings appeal to hearts. So if we were looking at birth, for example, it isn't a medical event. Birth is an event created by love, about love. Labour is fuelled by the hormone and love-making hormone, oxytocin, and it will not happen if oxytocin is not present. This doesn't mean that something's wrong with the mother if the birth isn't happening. It means that something is wrong with the environment that she's in, and something is wrong with what she's being exposed to at the time. This is why so many parents are now making the decision to select their caregivers carefully and perhaps to hire a doula, or, as is the case at the moment a lot in the press, an independent midwife, because in that way you can make sure that you can control the environment and you can make sure the environment is conducive to your and your baby's health. Because, as I know now, the setup of the time of which you're born, in many ways, sets up your health for life. I know Michel Audon's written a book about this. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but he has a theory about the emotional and psychological setup. But here I'm particularly talking about the physical setup. So our health now, in adulthood, is directly related and proportional to the contact we had with our mother's skin as we were born. So that's either and going down the vagina, being placed onto her chest after birth, being held by her and accepting the microorganisms that are cultivated in her body, because biology dictates that if our mother has been successful, then it's a jolly good idea to take those microbes on board, because they're the ones that create long-term health. So when we're talking about adult health and about the decisions we're making, I'm interested in this idea that how we feel, our emotions, and our connection to decisions that we make and why we make the decisions we make are based on our feelings. And that's not to disregard any measurements or graph making that people do, but in the event, if we were to measure everything everybody did, it wouldn't ever match up. You wouldn't find a direct correlation, an exact amount of the food people eat, or the way they lead their life, or their exercise. There are huge normal, I want to use my hands, sorry if it makes the screen move. There are huge normal variations in what makes us healthy. And so yeah, I won't go on any longer because I think I've rambled on long enough now. But it's just really opening up discussion about the conclusions that we come to, the logic that we use, the assumptions that we use in something as complicated as health. Health is not just a lack of disease, not a lack of illness. And having learned how to make myself healthy with my total lifestyle, I want to share this. And so I hope you'll join me again soon. Bye for now.